It's June, the weather's warming up. Who's ready for some football in shorts? With Behind the Steel Curtain, I'm Neal Coolong. The Pittsburgh Steelers, along with 31 other teams, are hitting the fields in organized team activities, OTAs, which is tantamount, as Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin would say, playing football without any pads on or football in shorts. While this time of the year is not particularly indicative of where a team is going to be, it's the first activity the team has together in which they're doing football-type things. One thing to look forward to in a highly anticipated Steelers season in 2014 is going to be the play of their defensive line. It's young, it's athletic, there are a lot of new faces. At the head of that is Steelers defensive end / defensive tackle Cameron Heyward. Heyward had a breakout season in 2013 and was among the Steelers' leaders in sacks and tackles. A big part of his resurgence has been an acute awareness of the game and a familiarity with his position, as versatile as it was across that defensive line. A big part of the reason why the Steelers were able to have that success from Heyward is due to the coaching of their legendary defensive line coach, John Mitchell. Mitchell has seen it all in his over 30 years of coaching at a very high level. From Alabama all the way through to Pittsburgh, Mitchell has seen some of the best players this franchise has had. Will Heyward be the type of player that can climb into that group? That remains to be seen. But what we do know is the level of performance from Heyward last season was no short of remarkable, especially considering how little he had played the previous 2 years. He played himself into a contract extension, very likely coming next season, and his option for a 5th year was picked up. We're going to take a look at Heyward and along with a few other defensive linemen on John Mitchell's boot camp here on Behind the Steel Curtain. The first entrant into John Mitchell boot camp is, of course, the star student defensive end Cameron Heyward. Heyward was the team's first-round pick in 2011, becoming the second first-round pick they invested in a defensive end in 3 years, with Ziggy Hood having been the team's selection in 2009. It's safe to say, just from last year's results, Heyward has already become a better player than Hood, and certainly a more explosive one. We're going to see that here in the first play we're going to break down. This is early in the first quarter in the Steelers' loss to the Miami Dolphins in Week 14. The interesting thing here is the fact that there's a lot that's put on the Steelers' defensive line in their typical 0 and 5 technique formations, with the 0 technique being the nose tackle. As you can see here in the pre-snap, Heyward is technically playing a 3 technique position, which is generally an aggressive, upfield rushing defensive tackle spot. It's also a position that you're going to play a defensive tackle who's athletic enough to be able to cover both left and the right of him. While he's not covering 2 gaps, he does have the ability to slide over. He's not going to need to on this play. As you see, he just simply bull rushes the left guard, simply moving him back into quarterback Ryan Tannehill, and takes down both Tannehill as well as the guard in registering one of his many sacks this past season. This is coming in a sub-package situation, which is something Heyward is going to be expected to do on multiple occasions this year as the team's primary interior pass rusher. Get used to it because Heyward already is flashing ability of an all-pro player and very well could reach that mark in 2014. The second play we're going to break down to Heyward is from the Steelers' Week 11 game, the win over the Detroit Lions in Pittsburgh when they had the wonderful Bumblebee uniforms on. As you can see from the coach's film here, Heyward is again in that 3 technique position with Ziggy Hood off to his left in a 5 technique. What the Lions are going to try to do is exploit that. As you can see initially from the snap, they have the center and the left guard double down on Heyward, except the left guard is going to release and try to climb to the second level where he'll try to block the strong safety, in this case Troy Polamalu. The center, though, is unable to get on the other side of Heyward's face to control him, and Heyward just simply runs down the line, keeping the center at bay, and is able to make the play on the running back, Reggie Bush. In this particular case, it's outstanding awareness by Heyward to see the play coming, and his athleticism in that short space is equally amazing. He's able to shuffle over to his right, be able to get off of a block from the center, and still be able to make the tackle basically with one arm. This play went for 1 yard, but it probably could have gone for less if he was able to get his full body across, but that's asking quite a bit. either way, you're looking at a premier run defender in the making. The third play for Heyward could be his most impressive one. Again, against the Lions, you see him here probably more in a one technique as opposed to a three, but he's playing on the weak side. He's going to go to his left with equal amount of quickness and agility as he showed earlier when he was making plays to his right. He's got Ziggy Hood at the 5 technique spot off to his left. But as you can see from the snap, he identifies immediately where the play is going, and he stands up the guard who's coming to block him. The guard has decent leverage. It looks like he's low enough, but Heyward hits him and stands him up. At that point, he's able to move him wherever he wants to go. And with that, he follows the running back through to the hole, gets rid of the guard, and makes the tackle. Just outstanding football plays by Cameron Heyward, and all of this shows the level of potential that he has, and a large part of it due to the tutelage of Steelers defensive line coach John Mitchell. 3 plays and 3 reasons to be excited about the future of Steelers defensive end Cameron Heyward. He's come a long way since becoming the team's first-round draft pick in 2011, and no doubt the influence of John Mitchell shows in the way that he is playing now. Expect him to be a Pro Bowl-level player in 2014 and to be the leader and catalyst of this defensive front 7. This has been part 1 of John Mitchell Boot Camp with Behind the Steel Curtain. I'm Neal Coolong.